Welcome back. Interest rates and inflation will be front and center this afternoon as the Federal Reserve wraps up its latest meeting today.
The Fed is set to announce its decision on whether to lower or raise interest rates or keep them steady in the fight against inflation. Interest rates are at their highest level in more than a decade, but prices are continuing to climb.
NBC News business and data correspondent Brian Cheung joins us now with more on what to expect. So I guess the odds are pretty slim we're going to see a drop in interest rates here. What can we expect, right?
Yeah, well, markets are pricing in basically no chance that the Federal Reserve will do anything with its interest rate decision today, which it's a funny news item, right? Like, oh, what's the news? The news is that the Fed's not going to do anything with interest rates. But again, the reason why is because they've already made borrowing costs so high to try to get inflation down, and inflation still remains sticky. So they don't really have an incentive to cut or ease interest rates at this moment, knowing that the battle is not yet done on inflation. That's a reason why markets are pricing in the likelihood that that rate cut that we've all been waiting for likely won't come until maybe somewhere closer to September.
So how is the Fed explaining kind of this balance that they've been trying to strike? Because, as you say, rates are still high. People are still waiting to buy those homes, things like that. And then inflation's still high. Weren't these interest rate hikes supposed to combat that? Yeah, and I think the question is, though, how long does it take for those high interest rates to get the desired outcome, which is getting inflation to the Federal Reserve's target of 2%. Now, we all know that things are expensive at the store, so what do borrowing costs have to do with that? The idea is that if the Fed ratchets up how much it costs you to put, charges to your credit card, to buy a house, to take out an automotive loan, well, then in theory, maybe the demand for overall spending goes down. That could take some steam out of inflation, which it has. We have to remember that the rate of price increases was somewhere closer to 9% in the summer of 2022. Now it's somewhere between 3 to 4%. But again, that's not the 2% they're looking for. That's the reason why the Fed is saying, all right, we're not going to cut interest rates yet. We're also not further raising interest rates. That's an important note as well.
Yeah. If not today, when could interest rates drop? What will you be listening for today to get some sort of indication for what lies ahead?
Yeah, well, the Federal Reserve decision is expected at 2 p.m. today. Then there's going to be a press conference at 2:30 where the Fed Chairman Jay Powell might offer some, tea leaves into whether or not they'll have some specific timing on when they'll do the interest rate cut. The Federal Reserve is usually pretty reticent to offer an exact timing on it's going to happen on this date, it's going to happen on that date. But markets are betting that it's more likely somewhere closer to September we'll see that first interest rate cut. But we have to remember, I mean, that's a pushback timeline. Going into 2024, there were market expectations that that rate cut could come in June, less likely based on the inflation data we've seen so far.
All right, Brian, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.